What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. So today we have the 2016 U.S. National Championship. Is this still National Championship at this point, or is it? Yeah, it's still National Championships. Okay, just make sure it's not changed to Internats at this point. I don't know when that changed. We have Nick Robinson playing his Night March Vespiquen deck. One of the most exciting decks coming out of 2016. Night March was a dominating force. It did so much damage. It did 20 times the amount of Night March any discard pile. Vespiquen did 20 plus 10 for each Pokemon you discard pile. So they kind of synergize together, right? You have this like Night March that could just like kind of goes with you know, just power itself up. And Vespiquen power itself up as well. We have Marcos on the other side who's playing a deck, when you look at it, seems to directly counter Nick's deck. And we can talk about this real quick. We'll pause it. So Seismitoad EX has Quake Punch. It does 30, and the opponent played out of cards from their hand. The big deal about this is Nick's deck is all based on good old item cards. You know, discarding the Pokemon, the discard pile, trying to, you know, that kind of thing, and trying to just get set up. And you can't do that with Quake Punch. Also, with that, Marcos is playing a Giratina EX. Giratina EX, first off, it shuts down Mega Evolution Pokemon, which Nick doesn't play. We don't really care about that. What we care about is the effect of Chaos Will. Chaos Will does 100 damage, which pretty much knocks out all of Nick's Pokemon. But it says your opponent can't play any tool card, special energy cards, or stadium cards from his or her hand during their next turn. And this is a really big deal because Nick only plays special energies. He is playing double colors. Pretty sure it's double colors. It's been a minute since I changed 2016, but I think it's only double colors in Nick's deck. So Chaos Will is going to make it where, you know, you can't attack if Marcos is using Chaos Will. Outside of that, there's Latios. We don't really care about that too much. And we have Shaman EX. Shaman EX is in both players' decks. Shaman is going to let you set up. You draw to get 6 cards in your deck. So now we understand the matchup. I think the big deal about this matchup is Nick is playing Vespiquen. If Nick is playing Vespiquen, he can hit for weakness on Seismitoad, which is great. If there was no Vespiquen, I think, you know, we'd see a little bit of a different game here. It'd be very hard for Nick to kind of counter this. But, I see some judges going on right now. Gotta wait. I don't know what's happening, but we're shuffling. But I think the big deal here is going to be the weakness. The weakness with Vespiquen against the Seismitoad is going to be a really, really big deal. So what players are set up here is Nick's Cam. We got the VS Seeker, there's double colors, Enhanced Hammer, Lysander, Shaman, and Lampent. Lampent's, you know, not so much a big deal. It does kind of slow Nick down a little bit. I think the bigger card in there is going to be the Lysander, maybe the Enhanced Hammer, but you really can't play Enhanced Hammer, of course, if Seismitoad is Quake Punching you. So that's a big deal there. But we'll see. Gonna do a little shuffle here, and we'll see what does Marcos find. I think he did Mulligan. We see the indication of a dice there, saying, you know, Marcos did not find a basic Pokemon. Imagine he's not playing a ton of basic Pokemon. So Nick will take his. Oh, it looks like it's 2 Mulligans. Whoa. All right, and here we go. Oh, Puzzle Time is in this format. All right, so let's pause this real quick. So Puzzle Time, you can only play this card. I mean, you can play it if there's 1. I don't know what the 1 effect is, but if you play 2, you can put 2 cards and you just draw to your hand, which is busted. The card did eventually get banned. There's Team Aqua Secret Breaks. I think that makes it where retreat cost is a little bit more. Your opponent's the retreat cost, yeah, is more. So that's all it is if they're not Team Aqua Pokemon. So a little disruption, plus making it where your opponent has needs more energies to retreat. So kind of synergizes that way, which is pretty neat. I imagine Marcos is playing, you know, energy disruptions in his deck. Most types of decks did play that back in the day. And here we go, guys. Let's get the game started in the Masters Finals. So we see Nick does have the Joltik, starting off with Joltik, only 30 HP, and starts off the town map. So now we're going to have all these prize cards face up. Kind of ruined the prize cam, but you know what? Who cares? We're going to see town map, reveal all the prize cards, and we see it Unknown on the bench. Unknown has, okay, so top 3, you put them in your deck, top on your deck any order you want. And Nick's hand is not very good. D-Valley, double Unknown. Now, the Unknown has Feral Letter. And it's going to let you discard a Unknown. If you discard the Unknown in play, you draw a card. In this game, you can play supporter cards turn 1. So we can see Nick play A Sycamore, discard their hand, draw 7 new cards. You can see he's trying to count the Night Marches in there already. Looks like he discarded the Hex Maniac as well, which is pretty cool. I don't think it's going to be that useful in this matchup, though. We see Pumpkin come down. It basically, we see a Feral Letter. Going to Feral Letter, draw 1. So discard it on the bench. Going to draw a card. We see another unknown. So we can see multiple Feral Letters here. Shaman, going to draw 2 cards. You have 6 cards in your hand. Nick also has another Joltik. But we'll see another Feral Letter. Going to draw a card. Get an Escape Rope. So Nick is already going off crazy turn 1. Ultra Ball discards a Escape Rope and a... I don't know what the other card was. Escape Rope, maybe? No, Escape Rope and something else. I don't know what the other card was. Maybe VS Seeker. No, it wouldn't be a VS Seeker. Nick would have kept that in his hand. Can't see what the card is, unfortunately. But they're showing out the prize game. So, you know what? This prize game is not working right now because Nick played a town map. That's funny. But we see another Shaman. And unlike cards like Crobat V that we have right now, Shaman, you can set up as many times as you want to. If you play 4 Shamans down, well, you can set up 4 times if you want to in 1 turn. Well, that's what made Shaman such a broken card. Then eventually we'll get his banned. So, and Nick's kind of an interesting spot here because you don't really want to attach a double colors onto the Joltik because what can happen is that Shaman could just Sky Return for 30 and just knock out the Joltik, return Shaman back in your hands. That's scary. Seismitoad does 30, which knock out the Joltik. So you would have preserved this double colors, attaching to the Pumpkaboo. Now Pumpkaboo does need 3 energy to attack, but Nick plays a card called Dimension Valley, and that's going to make it where all Psychic Pokemon need 1 less colors energy to attack, which means he only needs that double colors to actually attack with that Pumpkaboo. And we see Compressor discard 3 cards out of his deck. Looks like he can discard 2 Lampets and a Pumpkaboo. Discarding Lampets is phenomenal in this deck. You want to discard those to basically, fill your Night March requirement. 20 times the amount of Night March in discard pile. We see there's 6 Night Marches already there. But Vespiquen for Be Revenge is also another card that can be powered up by these Lampets being discarded with Battle Compressor. And we finally see Nick. I think he took a 4-minute turn. And we see a Trainer Tunnel from Marcos. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Put a Trainer card in your hand. And we see grabbing the Ultra Ball. And he's going to discard 2 cards out of his deck. Find any Pokemon. I imagine what he wants to find here is going to be probably a Seismitoad. Seismitoad's going to make it where you get Quake Punch, take a knockout on the Joltik, and item lock Nick. But Nick already has 6 Pokemon in the discard pile, which means your Night March is doing 120. But Be Revenge, that's where things start getting scary because it does 160 right now. Oh, we see Hoopa. Hoopa's legal in this format. That's very cool. Hoopa V has a ability called Scoundrelling. It's going to search your deck for 3 Pokemon EX and put them in your hand. So we see Giratina, we see Seismitoad, and we see good old Shaman. Good old Shebe itself coming out. And this is pretty cool because what Marcos can do is attach the double colors to Seismitoad, Quake and Punch, and then slowly power up the Giratina. And probably that's his best way to go about this. So see the Giratina come down because that Giratina does need 2. It needs 2 sets of special energies. So see Seismitoad, we see a Fighting Fury Bell. Gonna give that Seismitoad 40 more HP, but do 10 more damage. The 40 more HP is definitely the more significant part. And he does hit a Floatstone and a Crushing Hammer. So let's see, is this hammer gonna be a heads or a tails? And it's a tails. Oh no, Crushing Hammer is so crucial in this matchup. Discarding those special energies can be very, very good for Marcos. Just slowing Nick down first off to begin with. But we see the Floatstone go to Shaman. Gonna give that free retreat. We see the double colors to the Seismitoad. And this will talk about Marcos can retreat into the Seismitoad. Get this Quick Up Punch off. Do 40 damage. Now, does he play Boss Order? And who do you Boss Order out if you're in this situation? You could maybe Boss Order the Shaman. But the thing about Boss Order Shaman is it can Sky Return. And nope, we're just going to see a Professor Sycamore discard the hand, draw 7 new cards. I do like this play better. You just want to take a price card. Trying to find those double dragons for next turn. And try to find maybe more Crushing Hammers, because that could be a big deal. We do see another Giratina come down, but I don't know if Marcos was to commit that many Pokemon on the bench. And we do see a knockout from Marcos. I don't think he took anything significant in that bottom card that I could think of. But on the next turn, he's kind of in a weird situation. Pumpkaboo does have a double colors on it, but it needs a D-Valley. Oh, and Nick top decks a Teammates. Wow. All right, so teammates is going to grab 82 cards out of his deck. Looks like he can grab Vespiquen and maybe 8 double colors if it's in the deck. No, gonna grab. Oh, he already has double colors in the hand, so gonna grab Unknown. I'm gonna draw through the deck even more, and with Vespiquen, I don't know how many Pokemon in the discard pile. There's really 7 Night Marchers. I think that's what that means, and I think it's like Beaver is just 20 plus 20 for each, or it's 20 plus 10 for each Pokemon in the discard pile, which means it does 90, so 180 right now. We see Beervinch. Okay, we see Unknown Letter. Oh, is this amount of Pokemon in the discard pile? 7. I think Nick definitely has enough to Beervinch for knockout. It does 20 plus 10 for the amount of Pokemon in the discard pile, plus its weakness. So, yeah, we're not even going to check the math here. Oh, Marcos wants to check. Let me see the Pokemon in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, okay, well, never mind. Yeah, there's definitely enough Pokemon in there. There's definitely enough to take a knockout on Seismitoad. The question is there enough to take a knockout on Giratina? I don't think so. That would be a lot of Pokemon. I don't even know if Nick even plays that many Pokemon to take a knockout. But like I said, Beervinch 20 plus 10. He would need 16 Pokemon in the discard pile. Maybe 15. I forget if Giratina has 170 or 180 HP. But anyways, we see Marcos coming down with the classic in. Both players are going to shuffle their hand at the deck and draw as many cards as prize cards remaining, which means Marcos gets 5, Nick gets 4. Going to shut down Nick just a little bit, trying to slow him down so that way Marcos can get this Giratina powered up and ready to go, because that's going to be Marcos' answer to Nick's deck. It's going to be getting this Giratina powered up and start attacking. And what do you do with your Marcos situation? Looks like he's going to retreat into the Hoopa. I do like this a lot. It makes it okay. And the fighting crew around the Giratina. So this Giratina is pretty strong now. And what this does, it makes it say, hey, Nick, you know, if you want to take a knockout, you're going to discard some more Pokemon, but I end you to 4. So I don't, imagine if no, I think if, like, yeah, no matter what, Marcos retreats the Hoopa is the best play here. Because you can always Sky Return a Shaman to do 30 damage if need be. Once the Hoopa's in play, it's pretty much not useful anymore. So yeah, retreating to the Hoopa is definitely the best play no matter what here. Even if like Nick has enough Pokemon in the discard pile. But we do see another Combi come down. I don't know if that's this turn or last turn. But we see Nick counting the Pokemon in the discard pile. There are 7 Night Marches in there, which means a Night March is doing 140 right now. We see that come up. We see D-Valley. And what we see here is, okay, no, we're going to save it. Oh, he did have enough. Or does he hit for weakness? I'm not sure if it hits for weakness. It had to be hit for weakness. Had to be hit for weakness. Right? It had to hit for weakness. Is that Hoopa's weakness? I'm pretty sure that's what Hoopa weakness is. So, I guess I could look real quick. Because it looks like there's only 7 Night Marches in discard pile. We see Floatstone going to the other Shaman. Let's see here. Hoopa EX. So Scoop Up, okay, going to try to reuse most likely a Shaman, but it is a Tails, okay. Yeah, Hoopa's weakness is Psychic. So no matter what that, okay, so that was a smart play by Marcos, like I said. No matter what, you can scoop up the Shamans, reuse them, you can Sky Return them, all that kind of fun stuff. We see Seismitoad, Vespiquen, and an N. Now, I don't know how I feel about the Seismitoad get benched here, because Nick does have that Vespiquen on the bench. And what that means is if Nick can find a Lysander, he could bring up that Seismitoad to take a knockout. Well, I guess no matter what, Nick probably has enough to even knock out Shaman. So it probably really doesn't matter too much in this situation. So I guess that's fine either way. Marcos just needs to find a... Well, what he really wants to find is a Special Energy and a Crushing Hammer to discard the double colors off the bench. And here we go, Crushing Hammer. This is really big here. And it's heads. All right, so Marcos can discard the double colors off the bench, Vespiquen. And now all he needs to find is a Special Energy. And that's just going to make it... Ooh, he discards the Head Ringer. I think I would like to see the Head Ringer on the Shaman just to then just be able to Ultra Ball something else away. Oh, does he already have Shaman in hand? If he already has Shaman in hand, then that's the reason why. But if Marcos can find a Special Energy here, he can knock out a Pumpkaboo. I don't know what Nick can do here. Yeah, he already has Shaman in hand, so that's fine. That's fine. I understand now. But 1, 2... Okay, so he does have the double colors here. So it's going to be up to Nick to... Like, what do you do now if you're Nick? And the Double Dragon. So, and a Sound Lab. Going to shut down all basic Pokemon to make it where they don't have any abilities. So now if you're Nick, what do you do here, right? You can't attach any special energies. You have this Chaos Will hitting you. You can't put up a Stadium because Chaos Will is hitting you. Oh man, so if you're Nick, what do you do here? So you can press circle to discard 3 cards out of your deck. He does play Zerosic, and that's a pretty interesting card. Zerosic makes it where you discard a special energy if your opponent's out of the field. We know that Marcos does have another special energy in his hand, so if Nick does discard one of them with the Zerosic play, he does have a double colors backup. It looks like he has 2 double colors in his hand. Wow. Alright, so let's see what Nick's trying to do here. He's got Lysander in the deck. He could do a Lysander up the Shaman, or not Shaman, the Seismitoad, and get it stuck in the active spot. That is a play that we could see here. We do see the Zerosic going to the top, and I think the Zerosic is probably maybe the best play. It looks like he discarded a Pumpkaboo, an N, and a Zerosic, okay. And I imagine this is what we're going to see Nick here. I think what Nick's going to go for the Zerosic play and try to go for the play of, okay, I'm going to say that you don't have a special energy card in your hand. I'm going to try to disrupt your hand, or disrupt your field, make it where you can't use it. We see Puzzle Time, going to re-disrupt 3 cards of his deck, and he does find a Shaman, but Shaman is useless because that Sound Lab, which is pretty interesting. He did find a VS Seeker, but VS Seeker's only allowed him to get 1 Zerosic, so what do you do if you're Nick now? This looks like a terrible situation for him right now. So you can see that Marcos pretty much has a really good matchup right now. We're going to see a treat into the Kopi, and we're going to see a pass onto Marcos' turn. So Marcos, let's see what he does here. He has a Zerosic of his own. Looks like he has a double colors, and going to attach it to the Seismitoad. We're going to see a Skylar going to search deck for any item card and put it into his hand. I wonder what item card he wants here. Maybe a VS Seeker for next turn. Maybe Puzzle Time. We know that Nick's next card is a VS Seeker, and we know that he discarded Zerosic, so that's a pretty big deal. Marco's already kind of preparing for that by putting a double colors on the active Giratina. But we see Marcos use the Skylar to find a VS Seeker for next turn, be able to grab any supporter card at the discard pile. And we're also going to see a Chaos Will for knockout, going down to 3 price cards. And let's see what Nick does here. I'm going to look through his discard pile. He does have the Vespiquen, he does have free retreat, but it is scary situation for Nick right now. Because Marcos even has a Fighting Fear Belt on that Giratina, which means he can actually one-shot the Shaman, because Shaman has 110 HP. So we'll see VS Seeker. Gonna grab Sycamore, discard his hand, draw 7 new cards. And once again, what is Nick digging for here? What can he find to help him out in this situation? He does find a Lysander, find a VS Seeker, and a VS Seeker. Alright. I mean, there's... Okay, so you bench the Pumpkaboo, retreat the Pumpkaboo, and pass? I think that's his only play right now. I think you retreat to the Vespiquen, you retreat Vespiquen into the Pumpkaboo, and you pass to Marco's turn. Okay. So Marco's turn, what do you do here? You do have double Dragon attached to the active, getting ready for Zerosic. And looks like he's going to play double Puzzle here. Grab a Lysander, bring up that Vespiquen, and saying, you know what? I don't want you to be revenge me. I want to knock out that be revenge and make it where, once again, you can't play any item cards or anything special like that. I'm going to take out your real aggressive guy, the be revenge, and leave you to only Night March. But Night March is still doing, I mean, there's 9 Pokemon. This Gobble that does 180 damage, which doesn't knock out the Giratina because it does have Fighting Fury Belt, unfortunately. But next we'll look at Marco's Disco Problem. And I think if you're Nick, like, you have 2 options. You can either VS Seeker for N, or you VS Seeker, or you play the Lysander. So we'll see what he does here. He does have a... Oh, I thought it was a Headringer for 2 seconds. I was like, oh my goodness, there's a Headringer Nick's deck. What's going on here? But we do see the Lysander bringing up the Sideshow. And this is kind of scary because Marcos has committed a bunch of special energies to that Giratina. And we're just going to see a pass onto Marcos' turn. Now, what can Marcos do here? Does he have a way to switch out this Seismitoad? If he does, I feel like he's in the commanding lead here. So let's see, what does Marcos do? Does he have a way to switch out? He did commit a lot of energies onto this Giratina. Did he actually overcommit his energies? That's the big question we have to ask ourselves right now. He does have one double colors in the hand and a muscle band. So he will be able to Quake and Punch, but if Nick finds a double colors energy, he could potentially just win this game. So we're going to see Via Seeker, probably grab an N. Oh, now if you're Marcos here, one thing you could maybe do, we know, okay, well, I guess N's probably the best play here, but if you Via Seeker in and Nick hits a double colors, we have to hit double colors and Dimension Valley. Because remember, Pumpkin Moon needs 3 energies. So we'll see. Nick needs to find the perfect 3 cards off this. Sycamore and Puzzle of Time. Wow. Okay, that Sycamore is pretty crucial here. Be able to discard his hand, draw 7 cards. And there's the double colors. And the Sycamore. Does he find the D Valley? 3, 4, 5. And there's the D Valley. So Nick will win this game. Put that in Dimension Valley. And he'll be able to Night March for the knockout. Making to make sure there's 9 in the discard pile. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 Night March in this discard pile, which means he's doing 180 damage and knocks out the Seismitoad. That is insane. Oh man, Marcos plays the end and puts Nick at a double. It puts him at Sycamore and it was a Puzzle Time. Top decks the double colors, plays the Sycamore, draws 7 new cards, and finds D Valley to knock out the Seismitoad. That is insane. Wow. Oh my goodness. That is, you don't. Usually what is it? You like in and pray. You just like pray. Come on in, stick for me. And this time it didn't stick. It didn't stick for Marcos. And that was a pretty exciting game there. I don't think it gets any closer than that. That was a pretty close game there. I don't think. I mean, what could Marcos have done differently? Maybe have attached one of the double colors to the benched Seismitoad, and that way, if it does get Lights and Herb like it did, he could attach a DC to it and retreat, and Chaos Will for a knockout. Or did benching that Seismitoad hurt him in the end? Because remember, he didn't have to bench Seismitoad. I understand that he benched the Seismitoad so he could in and draw more cards and try to find certain stuff he was looking for. But if he never benched that Seismitoad, what could have Nick done? I guess he could have like Boss Sword the Shaman or Lights Under the Shaman, but we know that Marcos has the double colors in hand. He could have traded, and then he could have attacked with the Chaos Will and pretty much won the game from there. But overcommitting the bench on the Seismitoad definitely kind of hurt him. I do understand the need for it, like just in case, your guy gets knocked out, you want to be able to find another attacker, all that kind of fun stuff. But I think you would have saved that extra spot for a Giratina more so, not for a Seismitoad. So I think it's somewhat of the difference here. But we'll see what happens in a game or two. Also, Marcos played that one Crushing Hammer, which was Tails, which is, well, no, he eventually took a knockout plus Crush Hammer, so I guess that Crush Hammer didn't really matter too much. I think it did let Nick end up taking a knockout, though, so that's the only kind of downside there. But here we go. On Nick's game, wow, he priced 2 Puzzle of Times. That is insane. And usually, you don't use Puzzle Time really too much for the first effect. You use it for the second effect. I don't think we saw it for the second effect at all during that game 1. And we see, did Marcos mulligan again? He did. Oh my goodness. All right, so Marcos, oh my goodness, there's 2 double colors and a Puzzle Time. Wow. So he only plays 4 double colors, maybe 3 double dragon, maybe 4 double dragons. I'm not sure. I don't have Marcos list in front of me. But half of his double colors are in the prize cards, and he does start Seismitoad. It gets Ultra Ball, discards 2, discards an AZ, and a Sycamore. Now, this is actually kind of scary for Marcos, because what could happen is, Marcos does this thing, whatever, and then he passes, because you can't Quake and Punch turn 1, right? That's not a thing. You can't attack turn 1. So what could happen is Nick could potentially take a turn 1 knockout on the Seismitoad. Is it likely? I don't think so. But with the combination of Battle Compressors plus Puzzle Time to get back your Battle Compressors, all you need to discard is 9 Night Marchers. I know I said only needs to, but it is something that could very realistically happen. We do see an Ultra Ball from Marcos, finding the Hoopa, finding the Shaman, finding the Giratina, And I like this play more. I like the finding of the second Giratina, not the second Seismitoad. I think I do like this play a little bit more, for further gameplay, right? Do you see fighting for on the active, Giratina? All right, so now the Seismitoad, it's not guaranteed it's safe, but it's pretty safe now. The only unfortunate thing is Marcos did not find a energy card. He does have Puzzle Time, rearrange top 3 cards of his deck. Once again, rearrange top 3 cards of his deck is something you usually don't want to do when you're playing. You want to save these Puzzle Times to be able to grab any 2 cards out of your discard pile. We see Marcos does have a Shaman here, but he knows the next 2 cards are not that good. So do you burn the Shaman right now? I like the VS Seeker coming down, or the Silent Lamp coming down. And we're going to see a VS Seeker for Sycamore, discard the hand, draw 7 cards. I like the Silent Lamp come down. You're forcing Nick to find a turn 1 Dimension Valley to bump that Silent Lab. I don't think any kind of tool remover or Stadium remover is in effect at this time. Zorosic? No, that's only special energy, no cards. Anyways, we see traders with the top 4 cards of his deck. Finds a Puzzle Time. Finds a Team Flare Gun. Ooh, that's actually a really good card here. Because Nick has to commit a double colors to the active and D Valley. And if he only commits one, then if he only commits like the double colors, he could just discard it. So Team Flare Gun's only active though. It discards special energy, or discard energy if your opponent's active Pokemon. Not even special, it could be anybody. But we're going to see Nick play an Ultra Ball, discard a Lampent, discard a Shaman, RP Shaman. So 1 Night March in discard pile. And let's see what Nick finds here. Once again, he can't use Shaman because Silent Lab's in play, shutting down all base Pokemon's abilities, which means Marcos can't use Shaman next turn either. But I think Marcos only wants to find next turn as double colors for that side of the to start quickly punching. So we see the Lampent come to the active. We're going to see Nick. I imagine he has to have like a Sycamore in hand if he's grabbing Lampent here. So if you don't have the Sycamore, you probably got like a Combi or something like that, right? But yeah, we're going to grab the Lampent, which definitely shows that Nick has like a Sycamore in hand, or maybe another Ultra Ball, and I'm just overthinking it. But either way, Nick's going to do some kind of shenanigans to discard this Lampent, get another Night March in the discard pile, and continue like Nick's drawing through his deck, So I'm not a fan of these wide shots like this. Okay, here we go, back into it. So there is a Sycamore in hand, and he does have Puzzle Time as well. Oh no, it's Escape Rope. Yeah. So we got Joltik. You don't bench a Joltik. Joltik doesn't matter. Lampent's in there. Escape Rope and VS Seeker. The Escape Rope could have maybe been interesting, but I think Nick wants to attack and start doing some damage to this to the Seismitoad. And we do see the town map again. Get rid of the prize cam. Sorry, prize cam. Get out of here. You can't see what prize cards Nick's taking anymore. It's a secret. But we do see a D-Valley in Nick's hand. And will Nick play this D-Valley to draw through his deck? He's got Unknown. He's got Shaman. It looks like he's got another Pumpkaboo. And we get Shaman for 3 here. Looks like he's contemplating the Joltik. Joltik's kind of scary because it could just be Quick Punch for 3, just for a quick knockout. So, looks like he's not going to drop the Pumpkaboo. Looks like he'll keep the Pumpkaboo in hand. So he has a Vespiquen for next turn. He did not, unfortunately, find a double color synergy right now. We're going to see a Feral Letter, discard the Unknown, draw a card. I think that was another Joltik. Maybe I'm seeing things. I thought it was a Joltik, maybe not. But what Nick needs to find here is a supporter card for next turn or a VS Seeker for supporter card. It looks like that is what we're seeing. And now you might be wondering, why is Nick playing a VS Seeker? He can't use 2 supporter cards in one turn. Well, the big thing here is we know that Marcos has Seismitoad, and Seismitoad has Quick Punch, which makes it where your opponent can't use any item cards next turn, which means VS Seeker is useless. So what Nick wants to do is kind of be ahead of the game and use that VS Seeker to find a supporter card. So next turn he actually has a supporter card if need be. It actually looks like he has another Sycamore in hand, but if your Marcos plays like an N or something, you want to be able to counter that, and your VS Seeker turns into a Sycamore instead of a VS Seeker, which is a not a usable card. So that's what we see here. But we see Marcos actually attach a Double Dragon to the Giratina, saying, you know what? I don't really care about Quick Punch. And this is kind of interesting because Nick, he's not really threatening a knockout next turn on the Giratina. Nick would have to get seriously lucky here to, get a bunch of more Pokemon in the discard pile, plus find a Lysander, plus, find, the energy. And that's a lot to ask for with a full hand like that. We'll see a pass onto Nick's turn. And there we see a Zerosic from Nick saying, you know what? You got energy disruption. I also have energy disruption. So we see Vespiquen coming down. We do have a Shaman in the hand, but we also have a Sycamore. I think you're just Sycamore here. And no, we're just a pass onto Nick. So there we go. There's a double colors onto the side stone, and we'll see the dreaded Quicken Punch. And here we go, 40 damage coming down. And I imagine these are going to be some quick turns here. Nick's going to draw a card. He has a Vespiquen in hand. Really not that useful. Oh, going to hit the Sycamore here. Going to discard the hand, draw 7 new cards. Okay. So see, Nick's got 5. Okay, yeah, 5 in the discard. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I think if you're Nick here, you don't commit the double colorless energy because it doesn't really hypothetically do you anything. I think if you're Nick, you just pass. And Nick has teammates in his hand. And what that means, if Marcos takes a knockout next turn, Nick's going to be able to search his deck for any 2 cards and put that in his hand. And there was the end. Going to disrupt Nick. That was a pretty good play by Nick. Like, keeping the double colors in his hand. You could have maybe put on the bench Vespiquen, but then Marcos, if he finds a Crushing Hammer, he can flip hands, discard that energy. So you really don't need that. But Marcos is definitely going to take a knockout here. And it's going to be up to Nick to see if he can find a double colors energy. There's definitely enough Pokemon in his discard pile to take a knockout on this Seismitoad. But his hand right now is pretty atrocious. Alright, so on the Marcos side, looks like you see a Trainer's Mill, the top 4 cards of his deck. He's got Giovanni's Game, which is pretty useless in this matchup. Everybody's taking a knockout. The VS Seeker is probably the best play. Oh, Floatstone's pretty good too. Give that free treat to anybody you want to. Maybe just hold it in your hand. We know Nick does play Starter Megaphone, which, I guess you can't use Megaphone because you're being Quicken Punch. But let's see what the Floatstone does. I could just go on the Hoopa and just kind of chill there for a second. So see the Team Aqua Seeker base come down. Going to make it where you need more energy to retreat. I think that's 1 more energy to retreat for our Team Aqua Pokemon. And we see a Quicken Punch taking a knockout. Going down to 5 price cards. On the next turn, he does have that Vespiquen on the bench, but now he can't retreat because the Team Aqua Seeker base is in play. We see Unknown. Going to Farewell Letter. And what's the 1 card he draws here? And it's a Pumpkaboo. I was trying to get excited and hope it was something good, but it wasn't, unfortunately. We do see a Joltik come down. And now Nick's in it and back again. Just like in the first game, he's in a terrible spot here. This side shows Quicken Punching. It's doing its deal. It's not one-shotting this Vespiquen, though. That's a pretty big thing to note. But Marcos does have a Lysander. Going to bring up the Shaman. I don't know how I feel about bringing up the Shaman. Because all Nick has to do is Sky Return, and he can pick up the Shaman and put it back into the deck. So I'm thinking, oh, no, back in the hand. It goes back in the hand, yeah. So if Nick finds a double colors next turn, let's see, does he find a double colors here? And oh my goodness, Nick top decks a double colors. This is what I'm talking about. So what Nick can do now is put a double colors on the active, Sky Return, set up like a Pumpkaboo that you can bench right now, and pretty much negate all of this damage that Marcos has done. Oh my goodness, these top decks are unreal for Nick. That is insane. So like I said, Nick could put down the Pumpkaboo. He can Sky Return to the Pumpkaboo. Or maybe just he Sky Return it to the Vespiquen. Oh no, I like this play. Sky Return to Joltik, you just feed Marcos a knockout. And saying, hey man, if you don't have a way to switch double colors, I'm going to attack you with Vespiquen next turn, and you know I have double colors in hand because I just used Sky Return. So can Marcos counter this? Does he have an in? Does he have a Via? Okay, so there's a Via Seeker. Crush Hammer is useless because it's in the hand. So, Marcos pretty much has a Via Seeker for in, but you're giving Nick 6 new cards, and we know his hand is dead because he hasn't done anything, and we're just going to see a Sycamore. Wow, that was 3 Crushing Hammers. So what I'm saying, what I think what Marcos is trying to do here is find a way to switch. I don't even know if he plays switching cards, I'm being honest. I don't think this deck plays switching cards. But we see a Double Dragon going to Giratina. We're going to see a Quicken Punch for knockout. But what's going to happen is that Nick can promote the Vespiquen, attach a double color synergy, take a knockout on it, because Seismitoad is weak to grass. and they were all tied up. We're tied up 4-4 prize cards here. So Vespiquen comes up. We'll see the double color synergy probably attached. It looks like Nick is contemplating dropping the Pumpkaboo. Looks like Joltik will come down. He does have the double color synergy and will be able to take a knockout this turn. That is pretty crazy. Yep. Double colors going to the Vespiquen. And we are going to see a B Revenge for knockout. And we're all tied up after this. You know, he has the Slime Sword, just quick and punch, slowing down Nick. But Nick having these like great turns, discarding all these Pokemon is really paying off. So we see the knockout here. Nick's going to go down to 4 prize cards. We see Marcos from the hoop with the Floatstone. He's got that free treat with the Floatstone. You always want to see a Pokemon that has free retreat so you can think about your play. Even though it looks like Marcos just 100% wants to, you know, sit up the Giratina swing kind of thing, you always want to plan your turn out. So that's why you approach a Pokemon with free retreat. So we see Ultra Ball. Looks like he's going to discard a Zerosic and a Hex Maniac. Both cards are pretty much not useful in this matchup. Zerosic could be kind of useful, but I think, actually the Zerosic could be really good here. So he opts to not grab that. Going to grab Shaman instead. And what is Marcos digging for? The only thing I can think of is Marcos just trying to find a VS Seeker to end Nick. But, like, Nick can't do anything, really. So I don't know. We do see a Muscle Band going to the Giratina. I don't know. Yeah, I don't like to play on the Muscle Band. I don't know how many Floatstones Marcos plays. But definitely you want to attach a Floatstone to the Giratina. And here we are. We're digging. I don't know what we're digging for. Maybe Super Scoop Up can be really good here. We see Puzzle Time, rearrange top 3 cards of his deck. Giovanni Scheme, Puzzle Time, Ultra Ball. Those are pretty bad cards. I do say so. But yeah, we're going to see a retreat to the Giratina. We're going to see a Chaos Wolf for knockout. And now we're back to Nick. What do you do here, right? You're in a pretty bad situation. You can't play any special energies because Giratina's Chaos Wolf. You can't play a Stadium card because Giratina's Chaos Wolf. The only thing Nick can really do here is, well, he can play item cards now. That's pretty good. We see Compressor look at the discard 3 cards of his deck. He might just discard like only 1 or something. Could discard the Enhanced Hammer. Now the Enhanced Hammer might be kind of weird, right? Like, why would you discard Enhanced Hammer? Well, what this does is Nick can use his good old Puzzle Time to get back the Enhanced Hammers, and basically, it could make it where you discard all of Marcos' energies. You could, VS Seeker for Zerosic if Zerosic's already in the discard pile, and play double Puzzle Time for like a VS Seeker plus Enhanced Hammer. That could be really good, and you pretty much put Marcos at 0 cards on the field. So we see Compressor discarding the Enhanced Hammer, the Teammates, and the Compressor. And imagine that's what we're going to see here. Imagine we're going to see double Puzzle Time to get 82 cards out of the discard pile. There they are. Double Puzzle Time. Going to be and the Megaphone as well. Getting rid of the Floatstone and the Muscle Band. Megaphone gets rid of all supporter cards, all item cards on your opponent, or tool cards on your opponent's side of the field. But do you see VS Seeker for Zerosic, discard special strategy in play. And now we're going to see double Puzzle Time. I imagine, like I said, this will grab a VS Seeker and an Enhanced Hammer. I do like that a lot. Be able to VS Seeker, grab any card, any supporter card. It's really, really beneficial right now. I can maybe somewhat agree with getting a special energy, but I don't think that's really needed right now. I think we do have something happening. Okay, make sure we get rid of all the tool. Yeah, get out of there, muscle band. Get out of here. Even though we only care about the Floatstone. So I guess Muscle Band Shaman could make somewhat a big difference. Like, helps 2 shots of Pumpkaboo or something. But yeah, if I'm Nick here, I'm just grabbing a VS Seeker and Enhanced Hammer. I don't think there's any other cards I need that are really that valuable, right? VS Seeker can turn into any supporter card. Enhanced Hammer is going to discard the special energy of the active. And you put Marcos at 0 cards. It looks like he's eyeballing Ultra Ball. And the only thing I think about Ultra Ball is he trying to set up like a Shaman? Or another Vespiquen. I'm not sure what he's going to do there. But we see Enhanced Hammer. So Marcos goes down from 2 Double Dragons to 0. No tool cards to play either. He already has Shaman. Nick already has Shaman Enhanced. I imagine he's going to grab Combi. Yeah, I'm going to grab Combi here. I don't know how many Pokemon are in Nick's discard pile, but it's probably a ton. I'm just happy that we finally got to see a puzzle time used correctly. And I think that's something interesting to note. Marcos could be playing this game a little bit differently by saving his puzzle times. We know that he used them to rearrange top 3 cards of his deck, but did he really gain anything? I don't know how big of a deal that's going to be, because now Nick's game plan going forward is going to be like, hey, I want to set up Vespiquen here, and I want to make it where if you set up Seismitoad, like, okay, one, I want to make sure my opponent doesn't have any special energies, which we saw him do, and now, like, if Marcos just attached energy to, like, a Giratina, Nick can probably just discard that in some form or fashion. But now if Marcos takes a knockout of Seismitoad on this Giratina, Nick can respond with his own Vespiquen to knock out Seismitoad. So this is a pretty kind of like interesting situation Nick has put Marcos in. Yes, Nick doesn't really have anything on the field, right? He doesn't have an attacker really. He doesn't really have anything else. So Super Scoop Up Tails, Super Scoop Up Head's going to pick up a Shaman. And we could Shaman for 2 cards. Not a lot here. Not a lot. Oh, but Marcos does have double puzzle time. And this is a pretty big deal because, well, it's kind of a big deal. What's going to happen? Oh, double dragon. Oh, and double dragon. So Marcos will get back double dragons. But this is what I'm talking about. Nick can, maybe retaliate by just discarding a double dragon again. That could be a really big deal. We know that Marcos has a bunch of special energies in the prize cards. Was he Shaman? Drawn up to 4. Does he find? Oh, he doesn't find one, unfortunately. So what we're looking for there is a VS Seeker to get back a special energy, or, some form of fashion. Oh, it looks like Nick actually doesn't have any VS Seekers left, actually. He's got Hex Maniac, he's got Ultra Ball, he's got Lysander, some double color synergies, and that's pretty much it. So discards Hex and Ultra Ball. So wow, what do you do with your Nick here? Do you just dig for a double collision to try to knock out the Giratina and go down to 2 prize cards? That might be what we see here. We see Ultra Ball again. See Unknown. And I think that's what Nick's trying to do. I think he's trying to draw enough cards to take a knockout Night March. You do 180 damage, right? And then Marcos says of its Seismitoad, Quake and Punch, knocks out Joltik. Nick then counters with his own double colors and knock out the Seismitoad. Ooh, yeah, that might be the play here. That might be what we see to secure Nick the U.S. National Championship. We see Unknown come down. Prize cards don't matter. Get out of here, Prize Cam. We see Unknown, Farewell Letter. And he does hit the double colors off the Farewell Letter. Oh, my goodness. So Nick will be able to take a knockout. He'll probably grab the Puzzle Time. I think there's a Puzzle Time on top. And yeah, now we have double Puzzle of Time. Wow. All right. So see Double Dragon going to the Giratina. All right. And so now what Nick can do next turn is he can play double Puzzle of Time and go for the VS Seeker, VS Seeker, or go for, he could just go for the good old just Zerosic play. Zerosic plus Hammer and put Marcos at 0 energies again. Wow. Okay. So we're going to see Chaos Wolf for the knockout. And there's Marcos' last 2 double colors. And what we're going to see here is double puzzle time. Nick's going to find the Enhanced Hammer, find the Zerosic, discard both energies again, putting Marcos down to 0 energies. And what do you do with your Marcos here? You're in trouble. Nick just needs 2 prize cards left. He can knock out a Shaman, put Marcos down to 0. We see Nick only has a handful of cards left. Do you play the Unknown? I think you just hold the Unknown. I don't think there's no need to play it. It was a pass on a Marcos. Marcos only has 1 energy left. We see Floodstone retreat to Seismitoad. He does have a double colorless energy. Lysander bring up the Shaman, but I don't know if Marcos has enough time to do this play. Yes, he's going to swing for 40, but what do you... Quick Punch on like 30. There we go. So yeah, I got a Quick Punch for 30, and now what do you do here? I mean, you do have, double colors. You could... Well, you can't Sky Return because it's Headringer, but does Marcos have a way to refill his hand, his deck? That's going to be the real question here. Because if he doesn't, I mean, Nick will just win by deck out during game number 2. So, my goodness. Okay, What's going to happen here? We know that Marco's got the item lock, so Nick can't play the item cards. He does a double close, go attach the active, and retreat, but he can't retreat. Oh, I guess Team Magma, does Team Magma Secret Base not work how it works? I think it does. I think that's game, right? Is that game? Oh, Shaman only has one tree cost, right? That's what it is. Shaman EX only has one tree cost. I think that's what they're trying to figure out. Yeah, Shaman EX only has one tree cost, so yeah, okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, we're good. So double dragon onto the Giratina. But, oh, we see a VS Seeker for an N here? This is what we're see. Yeah, VS Seeker for N. Alright, so Marcos does have a way to refill his deck. So that's step number one. Refill your deck. So we're gonna refill the deck. But Nick's deck is very, very small. We know there's at least two. I think there's two double colors in the deck, and there's an unknown in there. And it looks like Nick only has like 5 cards left. I mean, it has to be super low. Does Nick find the double colors? There's a Lysander, and I'm not sure what the other card was. So we see a Quake and Punch for third. Oh, a Sycamore. Oh, this is going to be a good game now. We see Unknown. We see 30 damage come down. We see Unknown Feral. It doesn't matter. Nick's going to play Sycamore, draw his hand, got the double colors, and Nick will become our 2016 U.S. National Champion. That's pretty exciting. You see a matchup, you think, okay, this is terrible. You know, your opponent plays Seismitoad, they item lock you. You can't play your item cards. Your opponent plays Giratina. You can't play special energies. But Nick was able to find a way, had pretty much the direct counter, had the Xerosic and Enhanced Hammer to handle the Giratina. You had the Vespiquen to handle the Seismitoad. And Nick just had this perfect combination of playing a Night March Vespiquen deck to become our U.S. National Championship, or the U.S. National Champion. And actually, I do think this is actually the last U.S. National Champion, which means Nick is still the defending U.S. National Champion for 2016. I mean, we've had high seeds since then, but, you know, whatever. But anyway, guys, there we go. And I think the poor thing is, like, this video is, like, you know, you look at a matchup that's unwinnable, right, on paper. You're just like, okay, you can't win this. This is a terrible matchup. How do you beat this? Well, Nick showed how. You always have outs, and I think that's the big thing here. As I never say, you can lose a game. You always have your outs to win, and that's a big thing here. And I think that's what the cool thing about this video. It shows you, you know, Nick on paper, he should have lost this game. Seismitoad's going to Quake and Punch, you can't play item cards. Giratina makes it where you can't play special energies, and you just lose. But Nick was able to overcome that and become our last defending U.S. National Champion. So congrats, Nick. It's a very, very fun game to watch, and still fun to watch to this day after 6 years. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something new. And yeah, there we go. If there's a certain video you want me to commentate over, let me know. I'll help break down the video and talk about it. Shout out to Puka and Jay Witz for commentating right here. We had Puka come back. Jay Witz, let's come back to the counter. Bring Jay Witz back to the counter. Caster's Lab. Caster's Lounge. Whatever it is. Alrighty, guys.